morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Really good, really good. Just another one of those. Just sort of peeling off a lot of stuff I already had. Trying to decide how much to keep and some things. So it's been that kind of week, and then very light earnings week. And I said that I kind of like those, and then had the big, big winner on FedEx put. Um, so yeah, that was good. Well, kind of want to talk about that one a little bit, but yeah, so solid for me. Just I've moved a lot more to shares. Kind of just a natural evolution of things. I'm still very locked in on options and what's going on with those, but options on stocks and the it used to be that I'd be like, well, under $5, forget it. And then it's like under 10, forget it. Under 20, forget it. I mean, they just lose their appeal um, the more you learn about it. And I think my option time's kind of devoted to the big stuff, the LLYs of the world and all that.
Nice. Well, you still need a place to buy shares at, so I got you covered.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Another one of those weeks where we kind of tag teamed a bigger name with the Airbnb this week, and that did pretty good in general.
yeah.
Whether you were in shares or options, and even for a stock that size, it's pretty decent play. If you like it long term, it was a good time to be around it. Um, Kind of a good time to buy the weed. It didn't really pan out as super profitable on the whole sector, but one or two got a really good move from where we were at. So you're in safely there. The Intel, what's up,
Yeah.
secondary? Yeah, that's long term play there. I don't do many of those, but I mean, if they're gonna pop up, um, I can do more than just say this is a good time to buy 5 or 10 years down the road. Kind of walk through that one under 20, and we're 10% above 20 now, and looking to be a buyout, which that number could get big. Who knows what number they throw at you, per share to
Yeah,
get it.
and big shakeup on the other side too. So on Qualcomm,
Yeah,
that's a massive volatility that you'll see when you're the buyer of a company that's that big and that important. Good for them long term, I think, but it uh, it can pull them back as they take on new obligations and all that.
yeah, and then smalls are still good. I caught a little bit of that re off the news. Didn't really stay in it long, so I didn't really mention it in the room. I mentioned the news in the room, but finally a chart on small with some volume. That was good to see, and then obviously Givo, PSNY, um, kind of still managing those positions through the trend, so to speak. And you get stuff under a dollar or at a dollar, and it moves to a buck 50. You're up 50% just in general there. Any more than that, it gets to be free. I guess you say at the end, so you
Yeah,
can kind
yeah.
of hang out in them a little bit longer. But yeah, just good plays. You kind of want more news to come in on both of those, or probably let them go this week. To be honest,
And
but
yeah,
yeah, good week in general. To be honest, trying to stay out of the market for the most part on new stuff. Um, so I didn't really. I mean, don't have a long list there. It's more of what came up in the news with the big news of the week. So it was an interesting week, to be honest. Pete, trying not to do much and actually making a pretty decent penny last week with what we were already in.
uh, yes, and I think that there's some significance to. Oh, and on news, Lunar was the one I that was the one I caught. Had
Oh,
already
I
been way
missed
up,
that. Yeah, I
but
missed that.
yeah, I caught like 30% share side on that, so it went a little further than I thought. But yeah, I think there's some significance to SPY being at all time highs and Nvidia being under $120. Um, and not that though, I mean, 120 is not some massive level or something like that. But but the point is that chips were not leading. Uh, Dow is leading, and we for weeks have talked about. I'm like, DIA heavy hitters. Like I just keep putting those in there, and they just they didn't disappoint. And I stick with what's familiar for the most part when that happens. John Deere for me, just good follow through on basically what I've been in there. And Solar Read was right on. You had pointed out Enphase to me, and I put it in my leftovers, and yeah, got that move over 120, and rejected right there. I mean, the wicks of the daily candles both are above 120, but it couldn't really claim that spot.
Hey, you
So yeah,
like
markets.
you like the wick where we finish, kind of inside the box, but that's what
Yeah,
the channel is. I mean, I'll tell you, I know we're out in public right now, but that's what the channel really is, man. Especially if you get some kind of like overall market pusher news. Seen it with the Rocket Lab, same thing. It moves fast through that zone. It's probably going to end up back in there. Um, for a while, that's where consolidation should happen. But the range itself, usually off the bottom, preferred. And sometimes you can get a higher low off the top. Is is playable. Let's just say that, so to speak. And especially with what you do. I mean, what is this? It's an $8 to $25 candle. That's a
yeah,
$13 candle. I mean, that's super playable, and that's why you didn't shut up at coin when we were arguing about $6, right? I mean, same reason
yeah. No,
that
exactly. Yep.
consolidation is just really easy to play, and I think those are the setups from a TA standpoint you need to look at. Um, and we do a good job of finding them, but um, yeah, go ahead. I don't want to talk about that
And then, yeah, yeah, and then
yet.
the last individual one I'll mention, kind of, it's sort of the one that you keep. Once Roku took off,
Oh yeah,
there's this big fat zone, and so yes, I do think on the initial pop, whatever it is you plan to get rid of, which you should have a plan for that, you do that, but then you keep some because it's probably going to hit that whole zone, and this is the third or fourth time it's happened. So, um, the last time Roku went, way past what I thought, and we were having that conversation when it hit 100, and I'm just like, damn, could have kept more of that. Well, then it fell all the way back to $52.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
so you get another shot at it, and that's how Roku's going to be until, with a stock like that, the paradigm changes.
I
That
think. Go ahead. Sorry.
whatever it is, they buy them out or something. But we're going to be in this channel for a while, and it's a freaking huge channel, which is what
Yeah.
you want as a trader.
Yeah, so Roku's a great example. I'm gonna bring it back up on the screen for you young bucks out there in homeroom land. Like it's a. I agree with everything you say. Like it if it continues, it has a lot of. I mean, definitely $100 test. Like okay, we can just get that out of the way. But when I buy at 50 people, I'm not hoping it goes to 100. Like by any means,
Yeah,
62, 63 was volume profile. Yeah, especially when we get this check back to a volume profile. I mean, I'm definitely taking money up there. Do the math on the percentages. If you're taking upper 60s from lower 50s, it's enough for me. I mean, I'm paper hands 101, whatever you want to call it. Keep some free ones. Cut half stop loss back at entry or $5 above entry. Something like that's way better than just holding and hoping in this. But for me
yeah, yeah,
personally, this is a good example when I say I'm not greedy because I got no love for Roku. It's just a good chart, like you're saying to me,
yeah, yeah,
that we figured out, and I'm taking my money probably way too early here.
yeah.
um,
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and it's I mean, especially in options, you definitely take it, because I was talking, I think 70, 75 C when it
yeah,
was
62,
it was like,
63.
yeah, yeah.
This on
So,
this last run,
um,
that's where you were still talking about it. I was like, man, I'm not buying back in. I'm not going to go back to a full position here at 63
yeah,
when I just played it off this 52. Let me see if let me give it a bit. And in general, where we were 2 weeks ago, it wasn't time to go full position on some risky stuff. It just didn't seem like that. And but
yeah,
you're right. We talk about it all the time. Like even this mid candle on this guy is $85, and we're probably going to get more than that in the long run. But I mean, if you're putting a percentage on our 52s offered again, I mean, I'm over 50% on that.
um, yeah, and I'll say this too: the setup. There are others that are in the early stages
Yeah,
of
yeah.
discovering a setup like that. And I'm not gonna say who they are. You know,
Not
pay
here.
you can pay if you want. Yeah, but they're Kathy Wood has some shares in them. I'll just say that there's a particular kind of profile of a stock
Yeah.
that fits this, and so we're in that environment, and that circles back around to what I said. If Nvidia is not popping 4-6% a day up to the upside, and the market's going up, something's going up. So figuring out what sectors they're hitting and what style of stock and which charts are primed and all that stuff. That's just what we do. Why we bother covering 50 stocks at a time
Yeah.
instead of just saying, here's your 15 cents on SPY, get your zero DTE going. Just not what we do. So,
My TA notes on Friday that I drop are always, you can tell if there's like two or three sectors that have two or three stocks, and like if there's two or three crypto stocks, two or three weed stocks, some real estate in there. All right, you can tell I like have an idea where some market lift might be. But if there's like
yeah,
one in every single sector, like there is, let's say 3 out of 4 weeks of the month, definitely like this
yeah,
week. I just looking for the best one in a sector that has
yeah,
kind of performed. Like we had a shitty EV do pretty good recently, right? So I'm looking for the
yeah,
next one. Like, I mean, it's easy. We got gold on that list a couple times, couple spots. A little bit of coffee. That's exactly what it is. It's just like, to be honest with you, there's sometimes where I'm like, all right, I got to make sure Professor looks over in this sector. So if I say this stock, I know he's going to look at that stock. Like
yeah. Oh, definitely.
If I say Nova, he's looking at running in phase and First Solar. Like I just know that. Or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if I
yeah,
say Hut, he's checking out his three smalls too. So um, that's a big point of what we do is kind of find that rotation into the sector, and usually before it's a punchline or before it's other people are watching it.
I lost you for a second, but
Oh, there you go.
I don't know what was my stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So as far as Twitter goes, like, I think they kind of just discovered sectors, to be honest. I mean, they post as if they just found out about it.
They found out
And
about the
I
word.
recognize, yeah, I recognize that when I'm teaching a class, and it's part of learning. Like, you learn something new for the first time, and you can tell someone just learned this, and that's great, and that's a positive thing. The problem with Twitter people is they got this ego, like they're shot callers, and they know everything, and so that, and they got the gambling mentality. They're paying more for their car insurance because how old they are, and that's a bad combo, and they lead people into some pretty big disasters to a bigger degree than whatever they're doing, because I don't think they're in a lot of that stuff. But it's sort of like it's just an influencer clout thing, and good at social media. And I'm not good at social media. I don't care, but
Horrible.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just I'd rather do what we do, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, well, the social media doesn't make me money, nor am I trying to treat 20 times a day for whatever revenue stream that might create. It's not working for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I really feel bad for anyone that started trading in, 2020 something, because the market you think is fast and super volatile, and you can just live off options or, you know, throw money at it and have better odds than a lottery ticket. But that's just not not the case. Like to get to where you want to go and down the road.
yeah. So
I don't know.
okay, so I'll put it this way: was anybody living off Microsoft options from 2000 to you know 2013 or whatever, when it was just trading in that same zone, and it's just like just flat for years? um no, and I don't know that. I don't think we're gonna go back to that market, but with options, like, things slow down at all. Nvidia did what it did this week. um that's pretty that's pretty tough conditions. I see people with LLY all the time in the message boards on the stock. They're just like, this piece of crap does the same thing every day. It pops up and then it gives it right back. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's what you want it to do. I mean, because you can't just grab an option and hold and think LLY is going to go up 6%. It goes up 6% maybe twice a year. But it's typically, if it's going to go up 3%, it's going to pull back to 1.5 or something like that. So yeah, the even the great volatility that we have is not enough if you're in out of the money options, and that's just gonna keep chipping away at those guys' accounts until they give up or until they just reload it every month or whatever they're doing. But you're not building something that's repeatable if you're doing that. And the the worst environment for them is when the market just starts to get in a range and
Hmm.
consolidate. And so yeah, I mean, so the edge of what we do is more pronounced in that environment than it is when we're just going to the moon every day.
Yeah, no. When I started trading, that was the try to find a stock that moved the dollar, buy 1,000 shares, call it $1,000 a day. That's a wrap. That was my hustle, and
Yeah,
you learn that you know, all right, we're gonna have to get 25 cents or 20 cents 4 or 5 times and call it a day. This dollar shit, the ratio on it's just happening is really hard.
yeah,
And the same, I mean, everyone goes through that process. So buying Mara 30s out of the money and telling yourself you're gonna average down every week and it's a long term play, that just ain't gonna work in consolidation and options, and it might work in shares. Um, and I think that's a huge difference. And again, these people that are just coming up right now is they're not given it. They have it bothers me because I'm older, and if you're in your 20s, you have a lot of time. Like even $1,000 investment in some companies, if you in 20 years that could be that could be a house. It really could. I mean, if you just give yourself a little bit of time, and so you don't want to sit and play. You don't want to be an investor. You want to be a day trader. Well, timing's still the biggest difference between red or green or the percentage you make. I mean, that's what
yeah,
controls
yeah,
everything. Is nothing but timing. You have to time the market at the right time, and you got to kind of slow down to see the best time to enter things. And like this week was kind of not eye opening for me, but hopefully eye opening for people in the room when they start talking about GME and AMC, and like I just say my level and Goose knows it by heart. And
yeah,
you put it on the chart and you're like, man, well, what if I had that? Well, you do. And you can have that on any stock without me or with me. I mean, you can find any stock and we'll find some levels together. That's how our relationship started. But I mean,
yeah,
even AMC, I was like, I'm gonna go check AMC. What I say last on it, and it was 470. And son of a bitch, as Joe Biden would say.
yeah,
I mean, that's where we are. That's where we've been consolidating. So, and I don't trade that shit. I don't. Well, I did.
yeah,
I did at one point in time, and again, it's about the timing of just slowing down, finding something real, and taking your time because you know these yeah, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people we get here and they're like they didn't build any skill from the good market we had since November, and they
yeah,
don't really know how to like protect themselves. So it's just like I just wasted 5 months, and it gets feels defeating for some people. Or like, how did I not become a millionaire? Well, I should have just bought Nvidia. Stuff like that.
yeah,
You get
yeah,
that kind of stuff, and again, the market is gonna have highs and lows, fast and slows, goods and bads, ups and downs, whatever two directional words you want to put on it. But you're gonna have these lulls like we had now. And I mean, I said halftime what 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and and just shares you're doing all right still. Options like you're literally crapshoot. You're playing roulette. That doesn't have great odds, right? You're picking straight numbers in roulette right now, and just kind of hard to watch. Some people, I don't know. That Lane story was fun to watch, but I think it's coming to an end.
yeah. No, I agree. And so my recent one for me that kind of the lesson in in shares. So I was waiting for those Oklo, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I had the earnings straddle on it, and puts did very well. This whole time I've been looking for, like, I want shares in this. There's a big thesis about nuclear energy and AI, and that's the one that like explicitly exists for that purpose. But it when I started adding it, and I was just buying it. I was just been buying it every week since the earnings drop and the follow through down, and it was just like had an average eight and change, like it's like 821 or something like that, and then really kept going into it the past couple weeks as it dipped under six. And talk about uncomfortable buys. I mean, that was pretty uncomfortable. Had a little more shares than I planned on having. Did have a number in mind where I'm just like, okay, I'm not
Sure,
going to take this down another
sure.
50% or some shit. But then here we go, pop back over eight. Had gotten my average in like 650 area, and I posted. I'm like, well, no more Oklo bag, I guess.
Yeah,
And
same here.
so got rid of most of that, and now I have some for the longer term idea, and that's how the crypto miners should have been for people. You want options on crypto, coin, and MSTR, particularly after the split. I don't know why you're looking anywhere else for crypto options, um, whether it's day trade or monthlies or leaps or whatever. I mean, the thing is, like, the leaps, yeah, the leaps are going to be $700-800. But I mean, you get what you pay for is
Yeah,
in options, and if you're buying, yeah, you can buy a Mara out of the money leap for $12. If you spent $12 on it, fine. If you spent 12 times 100 on that, um, you're in some pretty rough shape, and so there's yeah, the style of trade, dependent upon the stock, like, is something that you have to kind of tinker with. And I think, and I'll get into our boring futures, but I think that really it's not really a coincidence that our room is people with a career who probably have matching funds going into some 401k or something like that, and they're wanting to learn how to trade, but they're not under pressure to trade,
yeah. They
and
got
so
they
they
got
can
tired of
actually
DC.
learn.
I know these people. They got tired of DCA and into their company, and because they get the shares they buy and into the S&P or QQQ or something like that. They got tired of doing that, having two or three stocks in their portfolio. They heard that was a bad idea, and they wanted to
Yeah,
diversify a little bit in general.
right,
And
right.
and and they have, let's be honest, I ain't gonna lie, they got 3, 5, 10 grand whatsoever to throw around for fun and see what happens. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a big ball. That's
exactly.
the
Right.
that's the quiet people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. And it's always funny to me when they they pop back up. Oracle. We
Yeah,
had somebody
Smokey,
who I hadn't
Smokey,
heard from,
call
but
me.
yeah,
Smokey, call me.
yeah, right.
That's my
So
guy. That's
yeah,
my guy. Yeah, no,
um,
and there's a couple of his. Well, I don't know how many, but there's a few of his work buddies in here. So I mean, if someone
I
posted
got a
about
few.
Oracle or T-Mobile in our room, I would pay attention. That's just what I heard.
Yeah, I got a few at the cigar bar who peek over my laptop and ask me what I'm doing, or what I do, and I'm like, oh, I'm an English professor, and they're like, what? So then that opens up the convo for what it is we're doing in here. But yeah, a few of them listen. So yeah, I think I mean, if someone is and has kind of gambler mentality and discovers our room, um, if you come into it with an open mind and understand you're going to be learning something different, that can definitely work for people too. So I'm not kicking out the young kids, but you know, it's there's some value to listening to not even just experience, but just the temperament and approach that's different than what's out there with the shot callers.
And Kayla come back day one and know how to use the tools.
Yeah, exactly. Right, right.
So that gave me some. If you ever question things, that's a good example right there. No, we speak clearly. You just have to.
Yeah, well,
You,
and
it's on your shoulders though. We're like that racing program you get at the horse track. We tell you all the last everything. All you need to know about the horses, what drugs it's on, everything you need to know.
yeah, and when we have if you want something that moves, I got the ER casino there, and we're talking at FedEx, and it was like, oh, well, if it stays $10 in the money, we're have a good morning. Open $20 in the money. That was a really good morning. So got once every couple weeks, sometimes more, we get one in there too. So
Yeah, no, and I mean you're really that's an underrated combo to be honest, but I mean I think we can expand on it a little because I'm really good at direction and you're
yeah,
really good at the contracts you should be in for affordable value.
yeah, that's a big focus of mine for sure.
Yeah, I mean like Nvidia flat, I think I saved a life on that one. Um, Even though the move ended up kind of down, it didn't end up down for people playing ER options. When that opening
Yeah,
bell
no,
came
absolutely.
and that
Right.
IV just got roasted.
Yes, and this is I mean this happens in splits a lot where people pile into options on the split because they're like, oh, they're so cheap now. Well,
Yeah.
they're going to get cheaper when you buy it, and then they choke it out. And so that yeah, that's something too. And I don't know. I mean, so the Nvidia obsession. I guess they weren't obsessed with it when it dipped under 100. They gave up on it, and then they wanted it again when it when it recovered. It's kind of a weird psychology
No, that's normal.
as far as that goes.
That's normal. That's
Yeah,
that nine.
yeah,
That's why the 90% of traders fail. It's because that's
yeah,
normal.
yeah,
It's like, and I mean, I tried, and I don't know how to get the message across to people. I mean, you're picking it up though, so other people should too. But that's what an uncomfortable buy is. That's how that shit
yeah,
works.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not comfortable. But
Right.
I mean, if you just go into psychology, like I mean, the video was 100. It's like we talk about the car, right? You're gonna buy that car at 100K. Well, what about 40? It's the same psychology, just the other way. Like Nvidia was $100 stock when everyone was hating it. Then it was two, three, and then it was four. And then people at 400 were saying this can't go any higher. And it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then it
Yeah,
split,
yeah,
right? And then it
yeah,
split. So when it goes under 100 again, I mean, just your guy at the bar is talking about, you heard about Nvidia? I heard it made people millionaires. It's only $90. Like that shit don't float. It don't. It just psychologically why I mean people come out of the woodwork, for that all of a sudden, as opposed to really it's $1,000 stock or a $900 stock at that price if you go off of what it was in January. But yes, that's psychology 101. Pa first hunter break on Nvidia. Everyone should have got that. The first
yeah.
one, the first one. Second one with some strength. We
Right.
sit up here for 3 or 4 months and do it again. I'll buy it again. If we're there in like next week, next 2 weeks, what the fuck's going on? I mean, so
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
psychology in general when it comes to that kind of stuff.
yeah. Absolutely. You ready for some
Yeah, give me some boring's.
commodities?
Yeah, give me some
All right.
boring.
So, uh, natural gas um, potentially gaining some strength here. When I look at UNG leaps and kind of what's going on with Boyle, and really they're closing out a lot of the shorts on cold, or a lot of the longs on cold, which is a reverse ETF. But anyway, yeah. So I talked about $2. $2 doesn't break down and stay down. It's fine. Working on 250 now. I still would say the combo stocks are where you want to be, and it's going to be time this week to revisit some of those. So I would look for that. And then uranium. The move recently was news driven, and it's not showing up yet in uranium prices. But I expect it is going to, and that's a weird one that has delays, and it'll just pop up. So you'll see like uranium's going to have like a 5% day just out of the blue, and then that sort of sparks it, and it'll take off. So that's kind of what I expect there, and quite a few of those are still in a good spot. I mean, yeah,
Real quick on that, real quick. It's funny that you just said the OKLO, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's even more funnier that that's uranium, I guess. And then Pele last week says I got entirely too much uranium. And then
yeah,
this week everybody's back with their head above water, just fine, doing okay, taking profits and
yeah, yeah.
whatnot. So it's just kind of funny to me.
Yeah. So it's just we set back up, and it's happens. I don't, it happened in real estate for sure, where they kind of kick the can down the road in that,
Solar,
and solar too. So
gold,
so yeah, no, I
gold. You got another 20 minutes? I can be here for a while. Gold.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, right. Yeah, so gold is going to. There's two things happening with gold. I mean, it's setting all time highs over and over again. There's disbelief that it can keep going. Well, start believing it can keep going. I mean, I think that's
yeah,
that's
why
the
not?
key. Until the trend changes on the weekly, you just stay on it. And the good news there is that um, I'm
So
not telling you to go to your pawn shop and buy gold stuff, but there's a lot of miners that are still oversold that are that could can catch up to this move. So that's a good sector in that regard.
I think what a lot of people miss on commodities, I mean, and it doesn't necessarily relate to stock prices, but it does relate to commodity price. When you say gold can go higher, this is why I'm saying this. Um,
Yeah,
is gold or commodities, oil, wheat, corn, salt? Salt's probably a big one. That's the first thing that ever really got traded. and
yeah, exactly.
and you
Right,
can't
right.
naked short your salt, and you can't naked short your gold because those or your aluminum because they need that product. It's a physical product, so that can I mean that's a really supply and demand. Where shares there's a little more flexibility in what people can do.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey,
I, I don't want to say
I
there's
gotta.
no options on commodities, but like Professor says, you could end up with a pallet of corn at your house. You really could. So, um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, I got a dissertation chapter on salt, by the way, in the year the ninth century England. So yeah,
were they
I'm with
trading
you
it?
on that.
Were they trading it?
They were trading it. They were trading. They were paying Vikings with it, so they
Uh,
didn't burn their towns to the ground. So,
nice.
um, yeah, yeah, no, I totally on that. And then uh, silver, same idea on silver. Move to 36 is what I see, and then
God,
that might not be it, but I mean
those charts
that's
don't
how they're
reflect
positioning
that
about it.
yet. Even the move
Yeah,
back to
sure.
30 into the 30s. I mean, that was the clicker last time. Was the moving back into the 30s in general when we were just supposed to get to 26. Um,
Yeah,
that was what really got those charts going, and those charts haven't gone yet. Like they really haven't matched the move in silver. I mean, silver just moved 10, 16%, right? I mean,
yeah. So I mean, right now the positionings for February is where they're at, and they can roll those, and there's still plenty of time. But that's where they're at, and so bullish positioning February. So the next several months could be really interesting as far as that goes. And then
okay.
oil, I think oil's getting back into where where it should be. Maybe this 72 to 90 idea. Um, that looks plausible to me. And there's some I would like I feel like every time I bring up like cop or something like I'd like a little lower to have sort of the 5 year position, but I'll just trade it for now. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of charts that are in some pretty good shape there. And thing about oil is it doesn't react to geopolitics in a logical way that you would expect, and that's what really starts to wreck people. They see somebody launch a rocket in the Middle East or blows up 100 pagers at the same time, and they're just expecting oil to just jump 5% in 2 days. But it's not really how it operates.
Yeah, I
So you
really
see
am.
this spot the new people when that happens.
From a chart standpoint, I mean, I really don't think we're getting above like 81, 82. I really don't. It's just without some event,
Yeah, yeah.
it's almost back to price controlled again. So when you say 90, that just seems like a big number to me.
Well, we can fight about it on the way to 80, and then at the Oxy's going to go 51 to 58 on the move you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I like the
Oh, it's
charts.
I'm fine with
I
that.
do
Yeah,
like. I mean, I had one this week, as I mentioned. I'll throw a jab in the sector that I believe in. Yeah, because I just don't see that much range in it. But you're right. I guess even a move from 70 to 80 probably moves those charts decently from where they are.
yeah, yeah.
It's almost just to me like natural gas was P. Like they just want to get it under control, so they can say, I don't know. I think they're a little late to the party politically, saying gas prices are under control because they're still fucking $4 where I live. But
Right. Yeah,
just on a TA standpoint, like we started, we haven't hit 90 this year. We hit 85 for maybe what, um 3 weeks.
yeah,
So, but again, it is a commodity, geopolitical. They blow something up. Um, but it just feels like we're getting to that natural gas was for almost a year and a half where it's just I don't want to say price controlled, but it really feels suppressed, saturated the market, so to speak. Um, yeah, I don't know.
yeah. And I think the last one, you've got the dollar, the DXY or
Potentially shit.
DX1 exclamation point or whatever, at 100. And anytime that's under 102, I get a little apprehensive about um, mega cap tech in particular,
Yes.
because usually, and it's when I buy SQQQ is right in this spot, and so it's this is what happened, um, several times now, and it's a rally in the dollar is gonna, there's a couple of red days in the market, and could just be a little pullback consolidation, whatever. But yeah, you got to be mindful of that. I don't even know how to trade the dollar. I wouldn't even mess with it. But
Yeah, not for
but
me.
I just think it's definitely it's one that I keep on my radar. I know Goose does too. So yeah, look for that to just kind of move back to 102, and that'll set up some charts to some pivots that we do.
Yeah, no, Goose is good at that Japan dollar interaction.
Yeah,
And I'm with you. That's it. It's almost like the option stuff where it's like, oh, that's not for me. I'm just gonna leave that alone. But kind of the point of one of the good points of our room is getting different personalities and skill sets in there, and she does a good job with just knowing when it's gonna be like. I mean, because I read 99.9% of the stuff in our room, and
yeah,
it'll become a conversation, and then I'll see it on the CNBC within the week or so. Like they're starting to talk about the dollar, the yen and the dollar crap, and it's like, well, I guess it is going to be relative to the market if these guys are talking about it, but um, it's good side indicator for sure there. What about copper though? You usually say something about copper is
um, yeah. So basically, it passed all the tests at 4. Didn't retest that. Set kind of a higher low in like the 410 area. 434 now. I mean, 450 break could just keep going. So we hit over 5 last time, and so I like that. I think the sort of the ones to look at. A lot of times, you know, SCCO gives you a cleaner move than FCX. Just easier read. They can't hide that kind of thing. So yeah. A lot of those look good. By extension, aluminum um, still in a good spot on a lot of those. I mean, our major aluminum stock we talk about is still pretty cheap, and good long term.
That's already profit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you talking about? 28 to 35, sir. I
No, I
mean,
know. Yeah,
what are
I
we
know.
doing over here? Um,
It's
let's get into SPY a
a,
little bit.
it's a
Go ahead. Sorry.
$50 stock. It's a $50 stock, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We got time. Getting to SPY a little bit.
Yep.
I was 65, 69. What up, Goose? And you were 64, 34. We were real close there. And then I was 49 on the downside. And you were 49 as well. We were 10 cents off. Uh, the range was appropriate. We were just, $7, $8 lifted from our top and bottom. But the
Yeah.
65 number, kind of close to that here at the close. Flirted with it on Friday. Um, Both definitely wrong on the getting 50, but I don't know many people that were saying we were going to get 50, to be honest with you. Obviously, that's going to be, the reason for that little bit of a lift. What I mean, people look at levels, charts. I mean, really, what I need is money. That's what this market
Yeah.
needs to go higher. And I mentioned it in the room, I mentioned it here, and it's that rotation out of those treasuries, bonds, money markets, savings accounts, or even real estate to an extent, and getting back into the market because it's more profitable. The reason I say real estate is because a lot of people are down, so just taking the loss and moving on to something that is profitable, that
Yeah.
doesn't have a fee, different tax burden, stuff like that. That's what we need. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm looking for. Um, so SPY again, all time high chart, tough to read, but um, nothing crazy to me, P. Not unexpected, but I don't know where you are with it, but they're not really unexpected, to be honest, with what we got. With now knowing we got a 50 cut, with a pretty dovish Fed talk afterwards.
Um, yeah. So the significant happened on Friday with the contract I talk about all the time. It's this December 500, and about $64 million worth of premium uh, hit the like the mid price. So, and it had been this one had been going back and forth, ask to bid, like so when it goes to ask and the market starts pulling back. Happened in the lead up to the whole yen blow up, and then has flipped to bid since then. So they're closing it out or selling to people. It's their major hedge as far as SPY goes. For that to flip to the mid price there right after the rate cut, um, I think you just want to be mindful of some potential downside that's sustained, or 2 3 days in a row. So I'm kind of mindful of that. I'm not calling my shot on some big crash or something like that, but I think it gives me a little pause that I saw that happen.
Most down days in general are substantial
Yeah,
lately in general, but getting two in a row hasn't really happened. Even looking on the
right.
1 hour chart, though, we had a week where we had like a Monday, Friday. It's probably not a Monday and a Friday, but it is if you do the calendar math. We just had two
Yeah,
days, with some consolidation, and but that's a $25 drop, so 4 or 5% in SPY. It feels like sky's falling. Is that this week? That's probably the question because it's kind of a short term thesis.
yeah.
Um, I don't. I don't see a reason for it, to be honest. So I'm sticking with some basics here with 561.78, which is my 20-day volume profile average. We had some really good consolidation into the rate decision on that
Yeah.
level. So we might get a wick below, but majority there, and then maybe 571.01 for me on the top end. We did get a lot higher than that. I just think that like any psychological level, that 570s, it's just going to get rejected. It's going to get slapped down a few times. This is the week that it gets slapped down a few times. Whether we go higher or not, for the next month or so, that's a different story. But I think this week we're just going to reject that psychological level a couple times. So 571.01, 561, 78 about a $10 range.
Yeah, I like that. So I got 559.39 and 570.68.
So you're close. I mean, you're close again. You're close. You're a little wider. You took the wick to the downside.
Yeah. Yep.
I got you. I got you. No, I like it. Do you? Only question I have, because I'm kind of asking myself it currently. Do you think the 50 was because they don't want to cut in November, 2 days after the election? So they just did the two here, the 225s here. Because if so, I think the market will hate up another pause. That's kind of why I
Yes.
asked, and I want to be set up for that. Or do you think they'll continue to cut 2 days after the election? I mean, because we're in uncharted territory. Usually they wouldn't even cut at this meeting. Usually that's hands off around the election. They let it get through.
Yeah, no, I think I don't really think that the 50 cut is long term bullish for the market. And so how that manifests itself, I I hadn't really thought about it in those terms. But yeah, I think a pause is certainly possible. There's a lot in the labor market that's pretty sour, that the market's sort of shrugging off for now. But if it decides to start caring about that, that could lead to some downside too. So yeah, I think they probably will pause next time.
That and that, I think the market will not like that at all. That won't be
Yeah,
a good thing for that. So yeah, it's continue to track that thesis for sure.
yeah,
Perfect, Pete. A little long here today, so ready to get to work.
yeah, sure, yep. So I'll take about 2 3 minutes.
Perfect. Well, like and subscribe. Link somewhere, people.